If you remember when the pandemic first started, it wasn't so much up to our grace on if we wanted to do a game or not. It was up to the conference schedules and the NCAA or MSHSL for high school sports on if they were even going to have the sports or not. The beginning of when COVID started, we just had nothing to do. Adjusting to wear a mask when calling a game, that was something that was really hard to do, especially for me who sucks in a lot of wind when you're calling a game. That mask is pretty much going down your throat, which is a hard thing to adjust to.
And so this is going to sound really odd, but in some ways mask shopping has become a part of the broadcast era, because if you wear a mask that's, let's say, quote unquote 2-ply, that's too thick, you'll sound muffled the entire time. And then it's, again, I say it kind of selfishly, but broadcasters, especially collegiately, we're trying to get jobs. We need tape.
In terms of broadcasting itself, it was very limited. Sometimes you'd have to wear a mask, sometimes you wouldn't. It was really confusing because some places were different than others, and so that was a big difference and a big challenge sometimes, because you didn't want to upset people, and you were just trying to do your job the right way, and you were going into, especially when you're on the road, you're going into different places that you didn't know what their policies were going to be. The one thing that you see some people doing a lot of still is a lot of remote broadcasting.
We had hockey games up on those screens, and we were down here essentially calling the broadcast of a live stream, which allows your broadcast to go on remotely from wherever you'd like it to.
You saw it a lot with baseball this past season. A lot of, if you were the road team, you broadcasted remotely. It's something I hope doesn't stay, but it's something that might stay.
My own selfish views, I would love to be a broadcaster and travel, for Major League Baseball, to travel all year, come home for a 3-game stretch and then go on the road for 4, 7, 12 even sometimes. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see the country that way, but I think in some ways that's one of the very quick things that you will see you'll see these companies try to save money on, which is just not sending the crew anywhere. It's tough for a broadcaster to be staring at a remote feed because, just for example, if I'm looking at a feed, my eye shot of the action is condensed and limited to whatever the camera is going to show me. But at a live rink, let's say, the puck is in the offensive end in front of a goaltender, but there's a scrum going on well behind the play, like behind the other blue line. That might not be in the camera shot that I'm afforded in a remote broadcast, but in a live broadcast, I can just crank my head to the right a couple feet and I can see what's going on, and then we can talk about, hey, physicality's starting to bubble up, tensions are starting to rise, this game's really starting to get into the nitty-gritty.
Hopefully the restrictions calm down a little bit, but that's not up to really anybody's control. I guess at the end of the day, it just depends on how things are down the road. Hopefully we are able to be back in closer contact with the athletes, get to hear their stories, get to call their game from a better viewpoint to really provide the storyline of what's going on.
There are times where doing Zoom press conferences and stuff like that is just easier to do. You can get it done much quicker than needing to fly somebody in if you're doing like an in-person press conference in the off season or something like that. So there's little things like that, a lot of the virtual aspects of it that I think we'll find ways to stick around because they fit in certain areas.
Hey, at the end of the day, we've all got to stay safe, and the broadcasts will not actually ultimately deteriorate for all of this, but yeah, look, things are going to be different, and for some of them I like, for some of them I don't.